Blog Talk Radio.
I hope we're coming to a chair.
This is our second story, man?
Stanley Golden.
And you are?
I'm Captain Miller.
Barton, he was ransacking an apartment on the third floor. When we broke in on him, he slipped down the fire escape.
Oh, I really slipped.
Anyway, when he did get up, he made a run for it down the alley. We caught up with him a few blocks away.
You cops are running much faster these days.
Pardon me for saying this, Mr. Golden. Aren't you a little old for this line of work?
I can see why he's captain. Yeah, I'm much too old.
All right, we're going to have to book you now. Just
You don't have to give me the whole police procedure. I got outstanding warrants older than you.
If you take sexual advantage of her, you're going to burn in a very special level of hell. A level they reserve for child molesters and people who talk at the theater.
Well, I am not. Preacher, you got a smutty mind.
Perhaps I spoke out of turn.
Or maybe half some thinking.
I apologize. I'll make her up a room in the passenger dorm.
Good.
Here's the backstory, Sam. You don't mind if I call you Sam, do you? I mean, I think we're really connecting here in a positive way. And I'd like to cut through all that victim, demon, negative imaging. You know what I mean? Okay. Here's the deal. All that mathematical lingo you were spouting, it's beautiful, man. It's like poetry. It brought tears to my eyes. Just happened to have the right phonetic structure to be a good old-fashioned demonic invocation. Especially with that neat little curse woven into it.
Don't the Bible have some pretty specific things to say about killing?
Quite specific. It is, however, somewhat fuzzier on the subject of kneecaps.
Because the character was just irresistible. I mean, who doesn't want to play a guy that has all the passion that this guy has, you know, and it goes in so many different directions, and you never know where it's going to come from or how it's going to leap out or whatever, you know. So it's just a joy to attack every time a scene is presented, because there's always something new, something revealing, and something that's really, really fun to play.
It's unbelievable. After, 12, 13 years? Every time I start to visit this idea of book, I get a little resentful. I mean, I get resentful of the fact that we don't actually do it. You know what I mean?
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome
to the whole picture.
Continuing, that it doesn't really continue.
You know what? That's a very, very good question, and one that I appreciate, because it turns out that my face is so, I can't hide anything. You know what I mean? With my face, because it's just.
You wear your feelings on your
Yeah,
sleeve.
I mean, it's just expressive, and so I think I've kind of gotten into a rhythm of relying a lot on allowing my face to communicate what I'm thinking and feeling and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I like doing the animation because it forces me to forget that I have a face.
All right, welcome to the whole picture, everybody. Sorry about that a little earlier. Wanted to say first off, Rip Ron Glass. I first remember him from The Twilight Zone, which you heard earlier in the clips of him being the devil, talking to Mr. Jefferson. I forget what his real name was, but he was trying to talk him into selling his soul to figure out a math problem he was doing. And then later on with Serenity, everybody knows Firefly and Serenity. I mean, after the first show, the first season, it got canceled and all that, all this blah blah. And then the first thing I ever heard about it was a preview for Serenity, the movie.
Right.
And I was always told to watch it, and I never watched them, either one of them, because it was sci-fi, and I'm not a big sci-fi. But my girlfriend got me into Firefly, and The Shepherd. He just cracks me up.
He's great. He's great in everything he ever did that I saw him in. The first time I saw him was Barney Miller, and then The Twilight. So every time I see him, you know, he's just one of those actors. You're like, oh man, I sure do like him. And I don't recall him being in anything that I did not like. He's always did a good job with whatever role he had. And in Firefly, boy, he was just, I think it was perfect for him. It was absolutely perfect for him.
He just had some zingy liners in there, like you heard with the whole kneecap thing. Yeah, it says not killing, but it's kind of fuzzy on the whole kneecap thing.
Right.
You can do the killing. I'll just make sure he doesn't get away from you. You know, and then Barney Miller. A lot of older people know him from Barney Miller.
I know him from Barney Miller, yes. I was a very young child. Very young child. I'll stress that. That's all I'll say.
I watched the reruns.
I watched it in reruns, too, because it was a really good show. And I liked Hal Leonard as well, who also is gone, who played Barney Miller.
Oh, okay.
And several characters from that show are gone now. Most of them.
Well, it is an old show.
It's an older show from the 70s. It's not that old. It's not old. We will not say old.
It's television old. Let's put it like that.
It's dated. It's not old.
Old. I just used to watch the reruns, but I used to watch it too. But
he's not that much younger than me.
Like I said, the reruns.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great actor. I mean, all the things that I saw him in, and he even just did the Death at a Funeral or something with that movie with Chris Rock.
Yes.
Death at a Funeral or
Death
something.
At a Funeral?
Something like that. And I even watched the preview for that, and I don't remember seeing him in it.
I don't think they put him in the previews because they were trying to bill the bigger names. He's not a big name.
What?
He is in some circles. Don't get me wrong. Some people are cringing when I say that. They're like, what? No, I'm serious. He's big in some circles. His name pops up. I'm like, yeah, I know who you got. But a lot of people don't know who he is. But when you start naming off the characters and the roles and the things that he's done, oh, yeah, I know who that is. As a whole body of work.
Remember The Proud Family? I don't know if you remember The Proud Family on the Disney Channel.
No.
Well, he was the voice of the talking baby for the younger generation that are listening. He was the voice of the talking baby. He also played, oh my God, what was the guy he played in Rugrats? He played one of the kids in Rugrats too.
I didn't watch enough Rugrats to know all their names well enough, probably, but I think I know which one it was. I just can't remember.
What are the names that you know of?
I remember Tommy Pickles and his little brother Dill. Yes, Pickles.
Dill Pickle.
It always drove me nuts. Angelica.
Then
they get
there's Tommy, Chucky.
Chucky. Yeah, Chucky. I remember when they came out with the later version of them where they're grown up.
I remember that.
I thought that was a really cool concept.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually loved Rugrats, and I kind of liked the all grown up a little bit. Then it kind of got a little cheesy, but I don't know. I don't think he went into the all grown up though. I think he was just like a minor character in one of the shows.
Probably.
But he was in it. He's actually got a couple of movies coming out that he's not going to see the preview for, which sucks. I mean,
it's always sad, but that happens when any actor dies because a lot of things get done filming months and sometimes a year, sometimes years before they're released.
Right.
And so it's not surprising that something like this would have happened because he wasn't really old when he passed. He was older. I think he was, 71?
Something like that.
73?
Yeah.
He was in his 70s. And so it wasn't like it was kind of a shock because you would expect him to be around a little bit longer. But I'm glad that we got, what we did from it because he left some really great memories.
Great body of work. I mean, a lot of people that don't know, go to imdb.com, look up his work. You'll be like, oh, I've seen that movie. I didn't know he was in it. It's a great loss to the movie industry with him. But we're just saying our respects. Rip in peace. We'll miss you.
Absolutely.
Shepherd, you live on. Now on to the actual show. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange. We're going to do a little preview for the people that have seen it and haven't seen it, kind of let you remember what it's like. So from that, here's that.
You think you know how the world works? You think that this material universe is all there is? But what if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything has to, Doctor Strange. Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality.
The Avengers protect the world from physical dangers. We safeguard it against more mystical threats.
Come with me.
You'll die protecting this world, Mr. Doctor. Mr. Doctor, it's strange. Maybe. Who am I to judge?
Doctor Strange, you think you know how the world works? What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to. Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality. We travel great distances in an instant.
How do I get from here to there?
How did you become a doctor?
Study and practice. Years of it. There's a strength to him. But is he ready? Be careful which path you travel down, Strange. Stronger men than you have lost their way. I am death. And pain. You'll die protecting this world. I can't do this. There is no other way.
I spent so many years peering through time, looking for you.
What's this? Trying mantra? It's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages. Forget everything that you think you know.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You've spent your life trying to widen it. Your work saved the lives of thousands. What if I told you that reality is one of many?
I don't believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief.
You wonder what I see in your future? Possibility.
Why are you doing this?
There are are other ways to save lives. So much you don't know.
Teach me.
And that's Doctor Strange. And that was Doctor Strange again.
He's quite strange, that one.
Yes, he is. But he's not a Doctor Who. Just so the people out there that might get it mixed up, he's not a Doctor Who. He's just
those are
strange...
good names, but he's strange, not who.
Right. Whatever. Who's the judge? So what did you think of it?
Well, you pretty much know what I thought of it. I told you because I saw this opening weekend.
Yeah, I had to go the next weekend.
I went immediately before I came here to record another episode of the podcast, and I told you I thought this was the best movie that Marvel has done.
You know, and I asked a couple of other people about that, and they figured the same thing. So it kind of got me hyped up about it when I went to go see it. And I went to go see it, and I was like, I don't know about the greatest one. I mean, it's up there. I want to say it's tied with Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, Ant-Man, and it's one of my top 3 for sure. But I wouldn't say the greatest.
I thought it was the best one they'd done for multiple reasons. I thought the casting was perfect.
Yes, the casting was pretty good.
Was absolutely perfect. My wife, who cannot stand Benedict Cumberbatch in anything he's ever been in, liked him in this movie.
See, I've tried to watch Sherlock. I've tried to watch Sherlock.
I love it.
And I just couldn't get into it. And I tried to watch Star Trek. What was the second one?
Oh, the second one.
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness.
And I just couldn't get into his character in that either. And I'm like, and then when I found out he was Doctor Strange, I was like, oh God, no.
I did not care for him in Star Trek.
But when
a lot of people did.
But when I saw him in this, I'm like, oh my God, he's a brilliant actor.
Perfect for this.
He was.
The only issue I had with this movie was actually with him.
Wait, what?
Accent slipped 3 times.
Oh.
He was American, he
was
British, and he was Scottish in this movie. And it just kind of bounced back and forth. And
originally Scottish?
I think he's
British. Or British.
He's British. But I think he was trying to do an American accent, Southern, and it turned out Scottish or something. I don't know what he was trying to do. But I felt like they should have caught that because they seemed to catch everything else. But
maybe they left that in there on purpose. See if, hey, maybe somebody will notice.
Maybe so.
Kind of like the little book Stan Lee was reading. I kind of, when I was watching it with my girlfriend, I was like, hey, look at that book. That's something. Remember that book. And sure enough, it sure was something. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was kind of like a play on the old Doctor Strange blacklight posters back in the day, because it was a book about an LSD trip.
Right. And that was about when Doctor Strange was published. That was a big player in the world, was LSD.
Now,
and that whole opening your mind to other possibilities and expanding your mind. And
now think of this: Stan Lee on acid. What do you think he would have came up with on acid?
Sometimes I wonder if he wasn't on acid for some of the stuff he did come up with, but I don't think he'd still be with us if he did drugs.
Well, look at Keith Richards. Look at Keith Richards.
Yeah, but he fermented himself with other things too. So,
well, that's what people say. You never know. Stan Lee may have done the same thing.
But he may have. I don't know.
I mean, he still looks good for what his age is.
He's like 90, isn't he?
96, something like that.
He's way up there.
Yeah, he's old, but he doesn't look. I mean, he just bloop, 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 bloop.
I'm just gonna call him Grandpa.
I'm gonna call him Stan the Man.
I'll call him Grandpa, and he can send me a Christmas card.
Yeah, that's probably all it'll be. It won't be no money.
There won't be no check. But, hey, I don't care.
Then you'd be like, hey, I'm related to
Like,
Stan
look,
Lee.
I got a card from Stan Lee.
I see him every year.
Did you get a card from Stan Lee for Christmas? That's what I thought.
But one problem I had with the movie is that it seemed like it went really quick. Like it was fast-paced for a 2-hour movie.
It really was fast-paced. And that was one of the things that people were confused on, was how long a time period was this? Because it seemed like he started training, and then he just knew everything all of a sudden. Well, when you're dealing with something that's that kind of a time period, yeah, okay. And you're dealing with a guy who's kind of the master of time, too. Think about that, too. So it actually, some people were concerned about when this actually took place in the scheme of the Marvel Universe.
Right.
It's actually a prequel movie. This takes place around the era of, it opens up around the era of Iron Man 2.
Right.
And at the end, it's modern.
No, what I heard lately is that it was only a 1-year span. A span of 1 year is what I've heard. But we got somebody on hold. Let's see what they have to say.
Okay.
You on the line? Hello?
Maybe they're on hold.
Oh, they hung up. Never mind.
Never mind.
Sorry about that. Didn't get to you in time. Back to what we were saying, though. If you got any questions or anything that you want to say, you can give us a call at...
We do have a call-in number.
657-383-0855.
That's 657-383-0855.
No catchy jingle. Not yet. But
I'm working on it.
Go ahead, call in, give us your thoughts too. We'll get to you hopefully a lot quicker than we got to that guy. I just noticed him. Sorry.
It's a new thing. Sorry, guys.
We're still working out all the bugs. You know, this is only technically our second live one, but we're doing pretty good so far.
We will. We'll get that worked out, and we'll get people on the air.
Yes, we will. And yeah, but it seemed like it went from him getting injured, hurt, and then him not being able to find anything, and then going straight to
knowing everything.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's just in the middle of a battle, and it's boom, right there.
Well, the theory here is the phone call that he had when he had the car wreck.
Right.
They were presenting candidates to him. One of the candidates, they said, Marine crushed with a prototype bodysuit, which sounds like, I'm asking you, sounds like who?
Sorry.
They called in, the first candidate was Marine crushed with a prototype military bodysuit.
Right, that sounds like Rhodey.
Except Rhodey was in the Air Force.
Right.
And what that is probably referencing is Justin Hammer trying to make an Iron Man suit.
Right.
So that throws it back. That's why I said
I think
Iron Man
that's
2
what
era.
I think they were referencing that. I think that's what they were
they had
talking
someone who
about.
was just injured.
I mean,
there.
not referencing or talking about confirm. I think they just confirmed that's exactly what it was.
Right.
But all it was just a file. You don't know if that happened before or how many years before that he was looking at it. It was just a file.
It could have been a year after, but I don't think it would have been 8 years after. I think that, if they're needing these kinds of surgeries, you need to get in there fairly quickly before stuff sets up and you can't reverse the damage.
Right, but if there's not anything this technical, but only just a couple, it's going to be a little hard to find.
Right.
So that could be why it's like that.
The other one that was a big Easter egg was the one that he was going to actually consider, the female.
Mm-hmm.
Carol Danvers.
Uh-huh.
Captain Marvel. That's who that will end up being.
Oh, okay. So that's how they're introducing them two together.
They introduced Captain Marvel in this movie as a blurb. It's just barely, not even mentioned by name. Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange was mentioned in Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
As a blurb.
Was he?
On the rooftop, they had the Hydra agent. They threw him off the roof, and Falcon brought him back up there, and they're like, what is this thing doing? And he's rattling off all these names, and Stephen Strange is one of the names he rattled off.
Huh, I don't remember that. I'm going to have to watch that again.
You'll have to watch that again. It's the scene where they have, I can't think of the guy's name. They threw him off the roof. Sitwell. They threw him off the roof.
Oh, okay.
And Falcon brought him back and threw him up there, and he starts saying,
that must have been Winter Soldier.
All these people are, yeah, Winter Soldier.
I thought you said Civil War. Sorry.
No, I said Winter Soldier.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay. It happens. Another thing I really, really, really liked about this, and of course, this is the musician in me. For those who do not know, because I have not updated my bio, I have a background in music. The music in this movie, I think, helped make it because they had the right flair, the right flavors for when they're in the Middle East or in Tibet and whatnot. And it had that feel throughout. Michael Giacchino, who did this score, has done a lot of work, large body of work, most notably for J.J. Abrams, scored the entire series of Alias, the entire series of Lost.
Love Alias.
Followed him into the movies and did Star Trek. He did other things other than just J.J. Abrams. He did the score for The Incredibles, which I thought was absolutely fantastic.
Incredibles? He did Incredibles?
He did The Incredibles. He did several others. I'm trying to remember the one that he won an Oscar for. He won an Oscar for Up.
Up. I really didn't like Up, the movie.
I liked the movie.
I don't remember the music.
I really loved the movie. The whole first 20 minutes where there's no dialogue was such a beautiful story, and there was not a word spoken.
Right.
And it was all in the animation and the feel from the music. And he won an Oscar for that movie, and rightfully so. It was really well done. He does really good work. He's done other things too, but the new theme that they do in the Star Trek movies that they've used in 3 films now, that was his.
Nice. That's so the people that don't know, we tend to ramble on off the subject a little bit, but
we do chase rabbits sometimes. Yes,
we do get back to it. But let's get back to the interview I did the other night with David.
Yes,
from Dust Comics. For the people that didn't get to listen, here's a little snippet of what we listened to. Welcome, David.
Hello.
Okay, first thing I gotta ask: did you go see it the first weekend it opened up?
Yeah, actually, I went Thursday night for a special screening with some cosplayers and all that, because I do have a Doctor Strange outfit.
That was my next question. I was going to see if you wore your outfit there.
Yeah, totally.
So what was your overall impression of it?
It was good overall. I mean, obviously, being a big comic book fan, I could nitpick anything, but it was good overall.
What did you think of how they did Dormammu?
They did him well, because I was a little worried about it, but they did him pretty well.
What were some of the Easter eggs you noticed in there, like right off the bat?
Well, one, I was like, what? No, it was when Mordo had the staff of the Living Tribunal. And we're all, me and my other friends were all like, well, that's the game changer. That's the freaking Living Tribunal. He's one of the highest, cosmic entities in the whole Marvel Universe. That should be able to destroy anyone. But it was just a little, I guess, odd Easter egg for me, because I was like, it's the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, I was with my girlfriend, and she was like, hey, I know him from somewhere. I was like, yes, think space, think Serenity, think Firefly. What was your favorite part of the movie?
The fight with Dormammu, because Doctor Strange typically with Dormammu always had to outsmart him. It was never a raw power battle with him, because Dormammu was just naturally stronger. To defeat him each and every time, he had to trick him. People forget, again, the context, because Doctor Strange was one of the many stories in Strange Tales, and literally his origin story, which was done a little bit later in that, was only 8 pages. And if you think 8 pages isn't a lot, and it was honestly, the story was pretty quick. He goes up there and goes, my hands hurt. Mordo betrays him even before Doctor Strange really gets involved. So the Ancient One actually had to hypnotize Strange to do some of the powers and all of that and help him out. And so he was kind of thrown into the deep end pretty quick. In the movie, they actually made it a little bit longer than it actually was.
See, the first time I ever heard of Doctor Strange was through Ghost Rider, pretty much the beginning of the story of Rise of the Midnight Suns. I didn't know anything about Doctor Strange, and when I got that one, it was an actual Doctor Strange comic book that crossed over into the storyline. And that's one thing that I like about the comic movies, that they cross over, just like in the storylines.
So that's one thing that annoyed me was the Orb of Amagato is originally it was supposed to be it was for dispelling illusions and such, because it was an eye, an eye, all-seeing eye. It's actually a play off of some Buddhist concepts and all of that of, seeing truth through your third mystic eye and all of that. And that's all it did. In the movie, they made it deal with time, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then that's when they go, oh, no, because we're tying it in because it's an Infinity Gem. I'm like, of course, the Infinity Gems. The nurse character is a love interest. I'm not familiar with that. I wanted to see Clea, who was Dormammu's daughter. And they met because he got trapped in his domain, and their relationship was pretty long-term. And she was the sorceress. She's a pretty strong magic user in her own right. I'd prefer to have seen that romance than the waste of Rachel McAdams just being there every now and then.
What was something that you wanted to see and didn't see, or did see?
No, it would be Dormammu, because Dormammu is, one of his first powerful guys that you can actually name. Part 2, I think they're going to go more with dealing with Mordo.
Mordo? Or they were talking about Nightmare.
That'd be interesting too. I was because the extra credits the extra scene after the credits when Mordo attacks Jimmy Smits.
See, I was thinking that could be like in the third one where it finally comes to a circle to where it comes back to him being a guy in the background pulling all these strings, and he's finally getting this main confrontation with him.
That'd be interesting too. And Nightmare is a pretty good villain. There's a old collection of the Marvel's greatest stories, and one of them is when with Doctor Strange, and it was when Clea left, and then he's all despaired, and he just starts, having these horrible dreams, and it's just, no, that was despair. That was a nightmare. My mistake. You can get your cosmic deities mixed up, because Nightmare and despair have,
right.
Similar things. They both play with your self-doubt and your fears and all of that.
In the comics, it actually read out the kind of like spells as he was saying them, because you couldn't just see the actual fighting like you could in the movie. So he didn't need to say it in the movie. But what was the spell you were wanting to see him perform that he didn't perform?
The Crimson Bands of Cryotac.
What's that?
Basically, those are red bands that wrap around you and trap you. And the interesting thing about that is Cryotac is also the gem and the temple that Juggernaut found to get his powers from.
Juggernaut, like I'm the Juggernaut? Juggernaut?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
And they tied it in years later. I forget what it was, but it was where they had 8 Juggernauts, to where Cryotac, bestowed 8 people to be the Juggernaut or something. I didn't really read it because it was a weird one. It was like Captain America. It was in Captain America of all things, I think, or something.
So that was just a little clip of what we did talk about. I mean, we talked a little bit longer, but that was just a little bit of what we did. Sorry, I accidentally hit the mic. But one thing that he pointed out, or that I said in there, that one of my favorite parts was the part where Dormammu and him were just going in over and over and over. And did you hear the part where I was telling him that Dormammu, his actual face, was Doctor Strange?
It was Benedict Cumberbatch, yes. And which is actually an interesting point. Benedict Cumberbatch is now the only person in the history of Marvel movies to play a hero and a villain in the Marvel Universe.
You heard that here on The Whole Picture.
And in the same film.
You heard that here on The Whole Picture.
That's right. You heard that first. If you win money for a trivia question, please share.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool. And if you really think about it, Dormammu, who has no time, no anything, there's no substance to him.
Right.
what would he have other than the person that's walking up to him to emulate?
Right. And
that was Benedict Cumberbatch's idea.
Was it really?
It was. And the director was like, okay, I'll consider that. And then he thought about it. He's like, well, that's really brilliant.
I know that.
And that was how that came about.
I know they had, like I was saying, they either recorded or started an idea of to where it's him doing that over and over. And he finally talks to him and was like, look, we've done this thousands and thousands of times, and he's just like, oh, fine, just get rid of it, stop it. And but I was actually expecting the real Dormammu, or
Dormammu.
I know these. The name went in my head, and I don't think that's right exactly how you say it, but it sounds right to me. If it's not, my bad. Dormammu or Dormammu. I was expecting to see like the full black cloak figure with the flaming head. I was expecting to see all of that. But no, didn't get any of that. And I like the part to where it was like, what's his name? The guy in green, with the staff of tribunal.
Oh,
I'm having a brain fart.
I know, I am too. I'm having.
It's not. I want to say Mordor, but I know that's not it. That's Lord of the Rings.
Mordor. It'll come to me.
Well, him.
By then we'll be on to other things.
Right. That guy, Mordo or Mondo, not Mondo. Anyways, he is going to be a villain. I have a feeling he's going to be a villain in part 3, the main villain in 3. In part 2, it's going to be kind of like a side villain to get to him,
Mordo,
that's it.
Yes.
Excuse me, I had to burp. Mordo. Yeah, because in the comics, he had already, before Doctor Strange came, he had already came and trained and pieced out.
The thing that I'm curious about is in the comics, Nicodemus West, his competitor surgically, he once he found out what had happened to Doctor Strange, he went and trained with the Ancient One too and became an enemy.
Now, when you first told me about it, and you're like, "Hey, there's one thing at the end, you got to watch the two endings. The two endings are big. Oh my God." Okay, so the first one, if I remember correctly, was Doctor Strange and Thor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did Doctor Strange have the yellow gloves then? I don't remember seeing the yellow gloves. But I want to say I've read and heard that they did have the yellow gloves on them.
On Thor?
No, on Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. No, I
Yes.
don't think he had on gloves in that clip.
Now, do you think that they're going to tie that in with Thor Ragnarok?
Tied in with Ragnarok because there's scenes that have some photos that they released where Thor is walking up holding the address. Right. And it's Doctor Strange's building where he goes in.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So that clip may actually be from the movie.
Okay. So, yeah, kind of like what they've done in Ant-Man. And,
Right.
Avengers.
The other little clips like that, they were teasing the movie. They led up to the movie. The first one they did was at the end of Captain America, and
Right.
it was teasing the Avengers.
Right. And
it was in there,
Right.
but in a different format.
No, it was actually the same.
Almost the same clip.
It
but I
was
think
the same
slight
clip,
changes.
but there was parts put in it, and
Yeah, they added to
before
it.
and added it into.
So they doctored it a little bit. So it's just a taste of. But yes, the outfit and everything showed him coming up to the building, looking at the address, and it's that
the 177A.
Yes,
Bleecker Street,
not 221B Baker, but
yes, another Doctor Who reference, which is funny
that was
because
Sherlock.
I was about to say, never mind, because it's funny because I don't know a damn thing about Doctor Who, which just proves my point.
That's going to be funny. That's going to be funny when they hear your 20 questions then.
But not today.
No, not today.
Yeah, and then, so do you think they're going to be actually looking for Odin? Or if
they are looking for Odin.
So is it going to be...
They think Loki is on Earth, and Doctor Strange is all for getting Loki off of Earth because of the trouble that he has caused in New York in the recent past.
Right. That's why he's like,
yeah, let's get him out of here.
You will leave as soon as y'all get him. Yeah, okay, let's help.
But the thing that got me was he was talking to Thor. Thor's like, oh, you have wizards on Earth now. Yes. And he's like, so you can't find Odin? So, like, they know of each other and all of the lore. And so I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff there. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
And the second one was the guy going and taking his powers.
Taking the powers away from
Right.
Benjamin Bratt.
Right, which is great actor. Now, do you think... You said that one was a big oh my God, too. Now, it was like, wow, he took his powers away, but what else is going to be there?
Well, I think you have the first one that is obviously leading us into the Thor movie, which comes out next year.
Right.
And then that other one leads us into a Doctor Strange sequel. But I think it also leads us into the Infinity War, because I think that he is going to be part of gathering some Infinity Stones because he knows where one is.
You know, now, do we have a date is there a date for Doctor Strange 2 yet?
I don't think there is.
Okay, so obviously Infinity War is going to come before that. So
it could be one or the other. But it's definitely going to be more Benedict Cumberbatch in that role, which I'm a huge fan of at this point.
Right. You know what I think is going to happen? I think Infinity War Part 1 or whatever it's going to officially end up being called, if it's just Infinity War.
They've officially called the first one Part 1, but they will not allow the second one to be called Infinity War Part 2. And I don't know why.
Maybe they're going to go Infinity War blah, 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 blah. Maybe that's what they're going to call it.
Maybe.
But I think it's going to be Part 1, Thanos getting damn near all the rings. Damn near all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Part 2 is going to be him and getting the last bit of the rings. And that's when Doctor Strange is going to be forced into it, because in the first one, he's going to try to take the gem from the Eye of Agamotto.
Yes.
And so I think that's how it's going to tie in, because he's going to.
So.
But I think Doctor Strange is not going to be in it as much as most people think.
I don't think that you're going to have everyone in it, and I don't think anyone can be in it a huge amount.
Exactly. I mean, look at Civil War. There was a lot in there.
Yeah.
So, but our last thoughts overall, I want to say definitely easily top 3 of the Marvel universe.
It's still my favorite one. I have other friends telling me they still think Deadpool's better. I'm like, Deadpool's good, but only for a target audience. I think this reaches all audiences better, and it's so well written as a standalone film that ties into the whole universe, that the comedy was there. Everything that you want from this movie, it's all there.
Yes. Well, this has been The Whole Picture. I hope y'all have a great time. You've been listening to The Whole Picture. Don't forget to check out our webpage at www.wholepicturemovies.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at WholePicturePod. We're also available on iTunes and Google Play Music. Don't forget to subscribe, that way you know when there's a new show. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, email wholepicturemovies@gmail.com. Till next time, we're The Whole Picture.